but it's with like about a week before I had to start up the paper and started trying to present this. It was not much that I could research into it. So sadly, I wasn't able to figure that out. But uh, one thing that we want to look more into is some of these have like some of it is actually things that you could probably try to decode. Like right there, we got the BBS RPPLG. Maybe we can just take that chunk and decode it, and a lot with the other things. And this one was specifically the Bluetooth manager binder. For the main activity, which is right here, it showed more of the same things, and it's a lot of things that I'm not able to fully understand. It was like, if you can look right there, more Chinese lettering. A lot of it takes a lot to look through, and when trying to do it, it's all the Chinese characters and also the encoding made it very difficult. But if we move over to what our other testing was, it was with an Ubertooth. And we were told to try using an Ubertooth to see if the connection. So what we did was we took myself and my friend, we went with 0 devices apart from myself and my phone. We tried to go into a secluded area and try to see how often the connection was. So we found out that the transmission of the data happens roughly around 3 minutes, but that's depending on if you're 3 to 6 feet away. It was very interesting to find out that you can push that connection farther, but it would take a little bit longer for the data to be sent to the clinic. We got it to about 42 feet just on the road. And we started thinking, what if that was a possible way to collect data? So we took that mindset and started using the Ubertooth. And from there, we started looking at all the different connections. We took like 10 or so tests, trying to see what all would work together. And a lot of it was stuff that was around the campus, or some things like when people pass by. So we got a lot of like beats or like different Bluetooth connections from phones, cars. Some of it was like self-driving cars, so I think a Tesla drove by. And there was also Apple and Microsoft, of course. And then once we compiled all of the different tests into this, we started looking at all the different companies that was there. And we saw MeshNet, which is one that when we looked up, it had something to do with creating different different products, like anything to do with Bluetooth to computer boards. So I looked more into it, and it seemed like they might have something to go along with the computer boards inside of a pacemaker. So this was a possible attack vector that people can probably attack. And then there was a bunch of others. It was a whole bunch that it was very difficult to tell. But while looking at it, we found these 2 unknown company IDs. It was interesting to see because this one right here happened in all of the tests. But we found out that there was transmissions of about 20K bytes to 300,000 bytes. And we found that it was these two tests where most of the data was sent. So we figured that must have been when the pacemaker started transmitting. And so we wanted to look more into that, and it was a little bit of a harder one, but uh, we figured that if we're able to understand, or if future researchers can figure out what these companies are, then they will have a breakthrough into our research. Now, because of our time constraints, like when I ordered the Uber Tooth, it got delayed, so we had about 1 week of testing time to do it. So it was a lot of drawbacks, but it was a way for us to test our knowledge from all of our classes. And it's a little bit, I'd say that because of our knowledge being basic beginners in the trade, that what we found was something that it's not more of a threat for if a beginner is trying to do this, but nation state actors or uh, someone with many years of experience has more of a threat than we realize. And we wanted to actually bring it together and have people use our research as a starting off point. And it was kind of fun as a way to start out of beginner and see how far we can get. And one other thing that I think is interesting is the whole reason why I brought this up for our project is because back in freshman year of college, I thought, huh, I wonder if Watch Dogs could happen. Like the ending of the first Watch Dogs game. And that evolved to, oh, learn as much as I can and see where it takes me. So, I wanted to know if there's any questions for people, or if you want to know a little bit more about the project itself.
I do have a question. I guess how, do you guys want to further take this project, or, what kind of things do you see for your future work of this project, past you working on it in school?
I wanted to take this as I took an internship over a summer and it was supposed to be on this, but sadly that project got defunded and it was supposed to be my sort of starting point, but I want to take this project further so I can actually make sure that people who have a pacemaker or defibrillator feel safe knowing that even if their pacemaker is Bluetooth enabled or is communicating through the internet, that they don't feel pressured that they have to stay safe or stay away from people. Most of it isn't going to be uh, a targeted attack unless you are a national leader of some sort. But I wanted this project to also be an indication to agencies and other researchers that this is something to look into.
Awesome. I mean, yeah, it was definitely a great talk. We apologize for the audio issues that we had in the very beginning. Um, but we appreciate your time, Dylan. And I guess if anyone has any questions, going forward in the future, he'll be in chat as well.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Okay, awesome. I guess the second one is, do you have any ideas for remediation against something like DOS attack against a random person?
You see, I we weren't able to get to any of those. I don't know if there was any remediation against it. I do know that Black Hat did something years ago, and there was one that they did something, but for against a random person, I don't actually know. It's one of the reasons why I'm a little upset that we didn't have enough time to learn or test more things, but that could be something that we can look into. Uh, And I'm just gonna pull this up real quick for anyone who, if they do want to reach out or learn more, you can uh, reach us at our school emails. Yeah, it is sort of bringing awareness to manufacturers and maybe just future researchers. It was more of a project to just see what we can do. What can we do for fun? And because I had a pacemaker myself, I'm going, oh, why don't we just do me? Yes, it was basically an attempt to see what beginners could do. Do you think that manufacturers are testing these vulnerabilities in the development stage, or do you think there needs to be more in place to reassure the parents and patients? I think some of it is tested during the development stage, but some of it is always going to be something new, and there could be something that happens. Like, um, one of the older models of pacemakers had a recall, and there was also what Black Hat found during one of their conferences was that they could use, as long as you were like 20 feet away from one of the programmers, you were able to gain access and basically give HTML attack through it. So I think after that, they started thinking, oh, we need to test more on these sorts of things so that future people are more secure. Now, I don't think they are the most secure because of how they need to operate, but for just for how it is now, I think it's encrypted, it's traffic's encrypted, and it's how should I say this? It's more secure than what you originally think, or at least what I originally think. So I think their development phases is testing a lot more.
Awesome. Well, I guess if there's no more questions, we really appreciate your time, Dylan, and sharing that research with us.